Channel 7 News starts right now.
Families stunned by a deadly tornado strike salvaged what they could from a campground left in chaos. The twister took them by surprise, tearing up several camping trailers, and the violent weather killed a 75-year-old man who was watching television outside at the campground. Good evening. It's going to take days, possibly weeks, to clear away the mess left at that campground. And here's a look from Chopper 7 at the area ravaged when that storm hit with no warning. It was an area crowded with families enjoying the summer. The weather struck in Clyde Township, which is in St. Clair County, west of Port Huron. Action News reporter Anu Prakash has the latest.
Dive teams have spent much of the day here searching a pond just as a precaution, but thankfully they did not find anybody. Now the cleanup can really begin. It's the day after a tornado swept through the Fort Trodd family campground in Clyde Township. You can see the RVs that were tossed around, left upside down, and ripped to pieces. Don Johnson had to come see it for himself. That's his nephew Jeff's camper there in the middle of the pond. Jeff was with a group of people outside the camper when the tornado blew through. A man Jeff thought of as a surrogate father, James Anderson, was killed.
He said that the three of them were standing by the trailer and it just started to lift off, and he thinks it fell on him.
Jeff Johnson's family members arrived here this afternoon wanting to get a closer look at the damage. His wife told us off camera that her husband is still recovering in the hospital. He has a punctured lung and fractured ribs. Others, meantime, came to the campground to get some of their belongings.
We had to come back and get some clothes, and then come back later and document, and then take some pictures and document everything and get it for the insurance companies. What a mess. Just luckily that we feel that we weren't here when it happened.
I've never seen nothing in my entire life like this. Never. I mean, I've seen it on TV, but not to witness it myself like this. It's just devastating.
Rich Pullman with the National Weather Service surveyed the damage and declared it a tornado, one without warning.
With severe weather, you're looking at some storms that develop very quickly, and they dissipate as quickly as they form, and it doesn't give us the time to get the warning out there.
And now as these families clean up what Mother Nature left behind, they can only think of those who lost so much more.
And we feel real sorry for the gentleman that lost his life and the people that got injured.
Along with Jeff Johnson, there are two other people in the hospital tonight. We're told all three of them are in fair condition. In Clyde Township, Anu Prakash, Channel 7 Action News.
And as you just saw, that fast-moving tornado devastated the Fort Trodd family campground. The twister only lasted a couple of seconds, but when it was all over, it had taken the life of 75-year-old James Anderson from Mount Clemens. Action News reporter Bill Spencer joins us live right now with more on that situation. Bill?
Steve, we're joining you from in front of the Mount Clemens Fire Department because for 30 years, James Anderson risked his life as a volunteer firefighter. He was a volunteer everything, in fact. He volunteered at his local church. He was a member of the Good Fellows of Mount Clemens, and he volunteered for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. He was, in every sense of the word, a great man.
He was the best dad that anybody could ever ask for. He would do anything for anybody. He's just wonderful.
How do you tell the story of a man who was so many wonderful things to so many people? At 75 years old, James Anderson had been married 51 years to his wife, Janet. He had 4 children and 9 grandchildren when suddenly, early yesterday afternoon, while watching TV outside his 28-foot travel trailer, suddenly out of nowhere, a huge wind kicked up. Friends at the Fort Trodd campground say suddenly trailers everywhere just rose up into the sky. And one of them, they say, hit James Anderson as he was diving for the ground.
We're thinking that he got hit by the trailer. The trailer, they say, flipped over and knocked him out and just probably killed him. We're not exactly sure, but that's what he didn't suffer, so that's what we're going to go with.
What we do know is that Jim Anderson was an incredibly giving man. For 30 years, he fought with the Mount Clemens Volunteer Fire Department. When the flames were at their highest, Jim was the first up the ladder. When the smoke was its thickest, he was right in the middle of the fight. Jim Anderson joined the Mount Clemens Volunteer Fire Department back in 1962. And like most volunteers, he made next to nothing. Close friends I've talked to say he did this because he loved the job, wanted to protect his community.
I think it was in his blood, you know. He's just that type of guy. He was a man's man, tough guy. You know, he really was. They don't get much tougher than Jim.
Tough, yes. But with his big, broad handlebar mustache, Jim Anderson was all heart as well. That's what his daughter Carrie will remember most.
And he just gave unconditional love. That was it. He's just a wonderful, wonderful man.
Simply put, friends say that Jim Anderson gave all of his time to other people, never thought anything about himself. Visitation for Mr. Anderson will be held at the Harold W. Vick Funeral Home in Mount Clemens Wednesday from 4 o'clock p.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. Again on Thursday from 1 o'clock p.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. Funeral services are scheduled for Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. They will be held at St. Peter's Catholic Church here in Mount Clemens. The family asks, that is, in lieu of flowers, they would like all donations to be made to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. Reporting live in Mount Clemens, Bill Spencer, Channel 7 Action News.
Yeah, thank you, Bill, for bringing that story. We can tell he's a very, very special man. Another tornado caused